And the Gondos are the Western League champions.
Yeah, that was one of the surprises in the city, if you ask me. I thought Palisades would win that league, and not only did Venice win the league, but they beat Palisades in what we know is a pretty much a thriller. And so that's a team now that's a real contender in Division I. So congratulations to the Gondoliers. 5-0 in league play, that's impressive.
Coach Gasca does a great job every year with the Gondos, so it's really not a great surprise. In the Marine League, Gardena had a battle with San Pedro. I like the Pirates, and the Pirates won the football game.
Randy, if you ask me, I hate to say it, but every score that comes out of the Marine League is really has a bad taste in its mouth, if you ask me, with what's going on with Narbonne. So, hey, great to get a nice league win, but no one played Narbonne. So, to me, it's all moot.
For me, the most exciting development, other than Bell winning a league title, was North Hollywood going undefeated, winning in the East Valley League. The Huskies with a perfect year, knocking off Verdugo Hills in their final game, 42-14.
Yeah, you know, I think the Huskies are another team that to watch out for. They're still, I don't know about a contender, but certainly a team that has confidence in what they're doing, right? When you have your bread and butter and you can rely on it, that makes you a dangerous team.
And these are the final scores from the last game of the regular season. We're going to get into the playoffs and some of the pairings a little bit later in the program. Next up was Chatsworth knocking off El Camino Real 29-27. The Royals had a chance to win it with a short field goal late. It had the distance, but it went wide right.
Yeah, you know, Marvin Street does a good job at Chatsworth, and that's a league rival almost it's turned into, I think, to a certain extent, because they hover around that mid-table, lower side of the table in the West Valley League. So could they see each other again in the Division II playoffs? Maybe, Randy, maybe.
Yeah, in fact, that almost figures that they'll meet because they're highly seeded in D2. In the Eastern League, maybe the shock of the night was Legacy burying Garfield. Now, we've heard from many sources that Garfield did not play a lot of their top players.
Yeah, what an interesting game to throw. I mean, look, if we're being honest, let's call a spade, because not only did Garfield throw the game and take an L, but from what I understand, it also ousted them for the outright league title, giving Bell a share of the league title, which is fantastic. But what an interesting game to throw when you can give your kids a league championship.
Yeah, and it didn't help them because they stayed in the highest division, the open division. We'll get into that a little bit later, and they're going to have to meet Carson, which is not a very easy assignment. But it did open the floodgates for the Bell Eagles, and they took advantage with a big win over Huntington Park. Our guest, Erick Stubbs, great game, 283 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns.
Listen, I've been covering high school sports for about a decade, and if there's one thing I know is the other team might still know what's coming, and if they can't stop it, that just tells you how good this player is. So looking forward to talking to Erick Stubbs and Coach Padilla.
This will be exciting. We get to meet Noel Padilla, the head coach, and his star running back, Erick Stubbs, here at Bell High School. Coach, first and foremost, congratulations on an Eastern League title. I know it surprised you because you had no idea Garfield was going to lose the final weekend.
That's correct, and thank you. I appreciate the gesture, but we didn't. We played our game, and I just focused on Huntington Park, and once the game was over, I was hearing the rumors of Garfield losing, and I didn't believe it. I wanted to wait till midnight when it was solidified that the loss was there, and I actually messaged the players that we became the co-Eastern League champions at that moment.
You were on the last championship team here in 2003. Is it similar, winning a title? Is it completely different?
It's different. As a player, you know, you get the adrenaline of being a player, being on the field. As a coach, it's all about the kids. It's all about them. I mean, they're the ones that enjoy it because they're the ones that put in the hard work. Like I tell them, I played already. Those days are over. It's about the enthusiasm for you guys.
Well, you look like you could still play. Speaking of the kids, Erick Stubbs is with Tarek.
Erick, I got to ask you, when were you born?
I was born September 19, 2007.
So 2007, so last time there was a league championship here, you weren't even alive. When Coach told you guys, hey, we're league champs, what ran through your mind?
It felt pretty great because we know it hasn't happened in so long, and to just be part of that, it felt amazing. And my team, we all felt happy.
Well, hey, not only are you a part of it, you're a big part of it. You ran 2,200 yards, 28 touchdowns, a big markup from last year. What's been the key contributor to such improvement to your senior year?
Definitely it's the coaches. They pushed me harder to, you know, work harder over the summer, and then my O-line as well. They pushed into the whistle. Way more improvement from last year.
My last quick question for you. Explain to the viewers, what's your game like? Explain what your game is like on a Friday night.
It's very fast, you know. In person, I move way faster. I like to hit, and once I see the open field, I'm gone.
Randy, we got a star on our hands.
He likes to hit. He also plays defense. He's a linebacker on the defensive side. Coach, your football team finished 7-3. We're getting ready for Cleveland. You're going to play them here tomorrow night. Is this team where you expected it to be? Is it a 7-3 team in your mind going in, or did you exceed expectation?
No, I actually feel like we are where we're supposed to be. One of the things that we had in the offseason, one of the big things, and Erick will concede to this, was we said we have to be Division I. We're battling for an Eastern League title, and we got to play Division I football. And here we are. So far, 2 goals down, 1 goal to go.
You know, and I talked to Coach Padilla before our broadcast. Hey, you know, Bell Baseball won the Open Division Championship in Dodger Stadium last year. Now the football team is on an uptick. Erick, you feel like around campus athletics is on the rise?
Yes, sir. It's definitely on the rise. A lot of us put in work that we should be recognized as well. Bell should be on the map, and we're putting ourselves on the map as students. And yeah,
that's why we're here, Randy, isn't it?
We're here. We're also here to preview tomorrow night's game. Now, Cleveland, I saw them. They run the football extensively. Obviously, you have Erick here who rushed for 2,200 yards. Both teams run the football. So you obviously know how to stop the run because you practice against it. That is the key, is it not? Slowing their running game down?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we have to slow the run game down because that's the key contributor on offense for both teams. But as I said before, they have a really good running back, but I feel that I have a great one here at Bell.
Why is he a great running back?
His work ethic, his commitment to get better. He's never content with his previous game, and he has battled some teams for the previous couple of years, and now he knows that he's one of the best, and he's showing it.
Erick Stubbs you told me you're about 220. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a load to bring down. How much do you use that weight? You said you have speed, but clearly you've got power too.
Yes, I definitely use it. I take advantage of my weight. I know I'm bigger than most of those people on the field, and if I see someone in front of me, I'm gonna hit them every time.
Listen, every running back has to give a shout out to their O-line, brother. So here's your chance, man. Go for it.
Definitely Frankie, Ricardo, Alonzo, Vinny as a freshman on the line, and then Edgar. They work hard as well, as much as me, and they strive until that whistle's over, and they don't stop. They do their part, and I do mine, and that's how we get the dub.
Maybe a little In-N-Out burger at the end of the year, man, just to give them a little thank you. I don't know. That's my idea.
When you look at the tournament, you're going into D1. Eagle Rock's really one of the premier teams. You played them, and you played them tough. Would you like another crack at the Eagles, the other Eagles?
Definitely. We have. That's one game that we really would want to have, but we got to look at Cleveland first because we have to respect our opponent for tomorrow.
A little bit about the community here. I like, and I reckon it to a little bit to Eagle Rock. It's a community school. When I come to Bell, it's a wonderful surrounding. Your community really gets involved, don't they?
Yes, they do. We have a really strong support system with our parents and our community. Even for a Huntington Park game, more than the majority of the bleachers will fill up to the stands because big games and they bring out the big crowds.
It being your senior year, Erick, how much do you think about making sure, I'm trying not to get somber on you, but making sure it's not your last game because this is the final year of high school football?
Yes, sir. I try to work as hard as possible because, you know, if you take that L, you're going home, and we definitely do not want to go home, so we're going to make sure to put that work in.
Do you try and permeate that through the team? Because, you know, I'd imagine, Coach, you know, you're saying, hey, play for your seniors, things of that nature. So do you make sure that the younger guys know, hey, this is it for me, and you're going to want the same thing when you're a senior?
Yes, most definitely, because, you know, we're in D1 playoffs now, so we all have to believe that we're a D1 team, and we're nothing less than that, and we could even probably be better. So I make sure the kids that are younger than me, they know to even be better than me, you know, you never know.
Love that message, Randy.
Last question for the coach. Obviously, you're having a good year. Whether you win or not in the playoffs, they're always tough games. But do you feel now, you've been through this for 4 years, you've been an assistant here, you played here. Do you think the program is built up after the season? Will you be good for years to come?
Yes, because that's something that we take a lot of pride in, developing players, and no kids outside of our community are part of our program. We just have nothing but Bell kids, Maywood, Cudahy, kids from the surrounding areas, and we push hard to make them better football players, and here we are.
Erick, Coach, good luck tomorrow night against Cleveland.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's turn our attention to the Southern Section. A wonderful battle in the Mission League. Sierra Canyon over Sarah of Gardena, 21-20. Sierra Canyon won it on a tackle-eligible play.
Yes, listen, that's a game that we all knew was going to be close. I'm actually surprised it was that close. I'm thinking a one-score game, 3 points, 4 points, maybe a 7-point game, but a 1-point game tells you how evenly matched these two teams were, and good for Sarah Gardena. Listen, that's a team that only carries like 42, 43 guys, and they were able to grit out the whole year and play Sierra Canyon close.
That's 14 straight wins in the Mission League, 3 years in a row. It has been the Trailblazers that ended up being the best team in the Mission League. Next game we want to talk about, Mater Dei and Oulu. Oulu was there early, but then Mater Dei scores 30 straight points, blows them out. Defensively, they get 5 sacks. They're number 1 in the country for a reason.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, it's what makes the Division I playoff field a little boring. I think there's going to be some mashups like Corona Centennial and Mission Viejo. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. Those games will be fun. But, man, at the end of the day, you got to play big, bad Mater Dei, and I'm just not sure there's anyone that's going to beat them, Randy.
And I'm not sure either. But, again, one game, anything can happen. And there are some good teams like Mission Viejo and Corona Centennial out there. Obviously,
Probably not.
St. John
Okay.
Probably not, but
Okay.
you got to give them a chance.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I give Simi Valley a chance, and I give them great credit. They lost the week before. They were kind of down in the dumps, but they come back and beat Oaks Christian in the big game in Ventura County. That's impressive for the Pioneers to bounce back.
Really weird, if I'm being honest. Jim Bankert to lose to Pacifica, I believe the score was 28-0 in Week 9, and then to come back on the road in somewhat of an emotional game. Let's not forget, Jim Bankert coached at Oaks Christian, right? And I just odd score on a couple different notes, but good for the Pioneers to get a share of the Marmani League. Look at Simi Valley. Basically no football tradition. Jim Bankert gets in there, and within years, they're Marmani League champs.
Baseline League was up for grabs, and it was Damien and Rancho Cucamonga. Rancho Cucamonga missed a late field goal, and Damien held on to win the league title.
That's another good story here in high school football is that, remember, let's not forget, their coach was let go like in August. And so their interim coach right now, who's probably going to stick around and be their full-time coach moving forward, takes them to a Baseline League championship. The Baseline League is known as maybe the 3rd, 4th best league in Southern California. It's a tough league. So kudos to the Spartans and good luck in the Division II playoffs.
How about in the Bay League? Inglewood finishes undefeated, do a pretty good number on a decent Culver City team. That's an impressive win, and it's been an impressive year for the Sentinels.
It has been, and that's a team I'm not so sure they should be in Division I, but hey, when you go 10-0 and you've got athletes, they're going to pull you up. So Cal Prep's had them at 10, and Randy, there's 10 Division I playoff teams. So Inglewood is going to play Santa Margarita in that opening round, and that's a winnable game, but man, I think they would be better served in Division II, if I'm being honest.
In the Sierra League, Bonita goes undefeated. In fact, they went undefeated for the season. We haven't paid a lot of attention to that club, but hey, they're 10-0, and they really did a number on Colony.
Well, they've got Noah McHale. That's the big-time name out there. Texas A&M linebacker, one of the best on the whole West Coast, and he plays both sides. He runs the ball. He plays linebacker. He's all over the field, sideline to sideline. That's their stud for Bonita.
Top performances from last week, and as always, we have a lot of good ones. The first one we want to talk about is the running back Sean Morris from Loyola. He had a great game, rushed for nearly 300 yards, scored 4 touchdowns, but it was a loss to Notre Dame Sherman Oaks.
Yeah, that game I was home for Week 10 and watched about 3 or 4 different games at one time on NFHS, and one I was keeping an eye on was Loyola Notre Dame, and Sean Morris literally could not be stopped. He was terrific.
Pisano had a great passing game for Hart, threw for 5 touchdowns, big victory over Saugus. How about the young man Jeremiah Duhu, the quarterback of Beaumont, 3 touchdowns in the air, 2 rushing on the ground, and a nice win over Redlands.
Beaumont's one of those programs, Randy, that's been really under the radar. If don't look now, they're in Division II, and no one really talks about them. So that's a program that's doing very, very well, and Duhu is part of that success.
Let's talk about a defensive guy. How about Arturo Arguello, middle linebacker, L.A. High School, 19 tackles, 6 of them for losses. Tackles for losses in a win over Sotomayor.
Hey, when you're in the backfield all the time wreaking havoc, you can often say that the offense is thinking about you before the ball's even snapped. So clearly that was the kind of night he was having.
We also like to always pay homage to the great place kickers. So let's credit Christian Martin, the place kicker at St. Anthony. 3 field goals, including the game winner, to knock off the Crespi Celts.
Yeah, despite the loss, kudos to St. Anthony for the win, but I got to give a shout-out to Crespi, back in the playoffs since 2019. I think it's Division 11, but hey, getting in is getting in. We'll worry about what division later.
Girls flag football in the Southern Section. Tarek has reached the finals.
It's been as fun as expected, Randy. We got so many great young athletes that are just dialing up great highlights here in these flag football playoffs, and not to mention everyone's excited because it's the first time they can get a CIF championship ring.
And let's look at the division finalists in D1. Top 2 ranked teams in the country, Orange Lutheran and Newport Harbor. That should be great. We have Northwood and Trabuco Hills, San Clemente and Troy, Santa Monica and Fullerton, and Northview and Antelope Valley. So let's meet the Troy head football coach. We chatted with him yesterday at the luncheon.
It's super excited for our season. We honestly had no idea we would be this successful. We feel very blessed to be able to be here right now. Our emphasis really was having fun and a great experience for the girls, and just kind of went from there. Honestly, we feel like the reason we're good is we really spread the ball out, and defensively it's the same way. We have like 12 girls that really are essential. It's hard to pinpoint anyone. Our quarterback, Addyson Wink, we definitely couldn't live without her. She's been amazing. And we have a really nice group of running backs in Kennedy Spurgeon and Nia Mendiola and Michaela Thibodeau. And our receivers, one of our really stalwarts that goes both ways is Mia Larosa. She's really been kind of the leader of the pack, I would say, as far as doing things both ways. So our opponent is San Clemente, who we've actually already played twice and tied in regulation twice. And we'll be playing at El Modena High School this Saturday at 9:30 a.m. First CIF championship in the history of girls flag football. So we're really excited to be up first. We didn't even know we were going to have a team until literally this point last year. Last year we kind of said, hey, let's try to start a flag football team. So this is actually our first year, just like San Clemente's. And we didn't know there was going to be a playoff till summer. And so now that there is, again, I like to say it's the cherry on top. It's the dessert. It's just a plus on top of everything else. And it's really awesome that CIF did this for the girls. I can't say enough about how important it is, and it's an awesome experience. For you?
Well, we made it to CIF finals, so not too challenging, but I play softball, so I'm obviously learning how to throw football is a lot different, so that took a while to figure out, but then once I did, and our whole team just kind of came together, it was really fun.
I play club soccer, so probably just managing the balance between practices and sometimes missing practices for games, just prioritizing. So it wasn't too much of a challenge, but it was a good time.
How great is it that we're getting some exposure for girls flag football?
Well, not to mention the first CIF luncheon, right? So in football, it's on that Monday. Everyone's excited for their championship week, and the girls get to participate as well.
Tackle football, city section, they have an open division, the top 8. Birmingham has won this the last 4 years. Let's look at the games. Dorsey at Narbonne. And again, these games aren't this week, they're next week. Gardena and Birmingham, Garfield, Carson, Banning, San Pedro. They played during the regular year. It was a 33-32 win for San Pedro. Your thoughts on the open division?
Look, I hate to beat a dead horse, but it's really the stories about Narbonne. It's hijacked the season, Randy, and that's the truth. So these guys are finally going to play on November 15th, the Gauchos. They haven't played a game since September 27th. I'm excited for those kids to get out on the Friday night football field.
Is my arithmetic right? Is that, 49 days?
49 days, that's correct.
All right, key Southern Section playoff games. D1, which is the highest level in the Southern Section. Some teams had byes, like Mater Dei and Bosco. But Servite and Sierra Canyon is a good feature game.
Yes, it is. And that's what makes the 10-team Division I field fun, because there's going to be some matchups that they make it really, really enticing, and this is one of them. Servite Sierra Canyon, fair toss-up game. I think Cal Preps has this like a 28-21 game or something like that in favor of Sierra Canyon. It's in Chatsworth. We'll see what happens. I think Sierra Canyon has rolled through the Mission League. They're feeling confident, where Servite started strong in the last 2 games have been a little bit of a fizzler. So we'll see what happens on Friday night.
This is another intriguing one in D1. Santa Margarita doesn't have a good record, but they're out of the Trinity League. They have some good wins. against unbeaten Inglewood.
Well, they've got Trent Mosley back, and then they've got Jonas Smith back, who actually, I believe, broke his femur, and now he's back. He was at Mater Dei. So big time athletes are returning for the Eagles. Santa Margarita is a dangerous team, but so is Inglewood, and I'm not so sure they're ready for the big test. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's what makes it such an intriguing matchup.
Sure.
D2, Oak Hills, Hesperia. Carson Cox, the great running back, is there. They're undefeated, playing Oaks Christian of Power out of Ventura County.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I think Oak Hills is thirsting for a competitive game. So their league, they really rolled through it. They had one competitive game against Apple Valley, which
They
pretty
beat
much
St. Bonaventure earlier.
No, they did. I mean, there's no question they're a talented team, but the last 3-4 weeks, they've just kind of been rolling over teams. So I think this is a team that's really wanting to hit somebody. And Oaks Christian maybe a little upset about the way they lost to Simi Valley. That's a great Division II matchup right there.
I love this game because Downey's got a great passing attack. They're going to be the underdog at Sarah of Gardena. Sarah's got the great secondary, so this is a very fun matchup.
Oh, man, I think actually Erick Sonheimer from the LA Times put it the best. He goes, get your calculators ready, because I think the score will be high in this one. Oscar Rios slinging it around. Sarah Gardena has multiple athletes, and again, it's that secondary. CJ McBean, who's actually committed to Idaho State. Man, I'm not so sure he signs there. He could end up going somewhere a little bit bigger than that on signing day.
Hey, we got a tractor coming in here. It's getting very interesting.
Part of being in the field, Randy.
I love it. Okay, how about San Jacinto at Newberry Park? Brady Smigel, the great quarterback for the Panthers. He also has Shane Rosenthal, the receiver. They're the favorite here.
Yeah, this is interesting because Newberry Park might have played themselves into a division maybe a little too high, but also maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are a good Division II team. They were the number 2 seed according to CalPreps. That's why they're in Division II. So really interesting, not so much matchup, but I'm curious how deep the Panthers can go.
Rancho Cucamonga, who lost that heartbreaker in the baseline league, at Murrieta Valley. Murrieta Valley, a lot of people think is going to win this division.
Yeah, they're the number 1 seed. Why? Bear Bachmeyer is back, and he's 2-0 since coming back from injury. The Stanford commit can run it, can pass it, can do a little bit of everything. The Nighthawks are dangerous. Only little red flag, they tend to let the score run up a little bit. Their defense needs to be shored up a bit.
Boy, this division is great. D2 in the CIF Southern Section. San Clemente, a very good football team, a tough schedule. Went 5-5 at Damien. Another close game.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun game. Let's not forget San Clemente, they come out of a 4-team Alpha League, and they get an at-large. So they went into that Sunday wondering if they'd even be in the postseason. And when your name gets called, kind of gives you a second breath of life, where Damien knew they were going to be in the postseason. I like the Tritons in this one on the road.
I like the game in D3. We'll only hone in on one game. Notre Dame, Sherman Oaks.
Oh, man.
They played so great against Loyola at Simi Valley. To me, that's a wonderful matchup.
Well, there's a little bit of drama threaded through it, and that's Steele Pizzella. Let's not forget, he started at Simi Valley, and now he's at Notre Dame. So what a fun, drama-filled game with a nice added storyline in Division III.
Steele, of course, is the quarterback
Correct.
of Notre Dame, so they're going to know where he is on every play. All right, let's turn our attention back to the city section. We mentioned the open division. Crenshaw and Eagle Rock's a good game, but I got to favor the Eagles here.
I think there's just a little too much firepower. Andy Moran's got his team dialed in. They like to pass the rock. Crenshaw's got some athletes, but they might be a little thin at this time of the year.
Kennedy's got Diego Montez, a quarterback who's had a fantastic year.
Oh, man, talk about a dual-threat athlete. I tweeted it earlier in the week. Diego Montez, a surefire all-city player selection. Could he potentially be the player of the year, depending on how deep they go in the postseason?
Franklin and Venice. Venice is one of the favorites to win this division in the city section.
You got to think they're coming in confident after winning that Western League 5-0. Good for the Gondoliers. How deep can they go? I don't know.
I like this D1 bracket. Really good games. Granada Hills and North Hollywood in a game that should take at least 45 minutes. They both run the double wing.
Yeah, there's going to be time flying off that clock. I think the Huskies are probably going to get the slight edge there, although you never know. Bucky Brooks is a good coach and always has his teams ready and prepared.
Mohammed's a great running back for North Hollywood. I like the Huskies. Cleveland here at Bell. CalPreps has it. Bell by 1 point. What do you think?
Hey, man, those are toss-up games. CalPreps actually usually gets it right. I don't know if it'll be a one-point game, but a one-score game is likely. Give me the Eagles and Erick Stubbs to move on to the quarterfinals.
Can't argue with that. They've been so nice to us today. You almost find yourself rooting for them. D2, Jordan and Arleta. Arleta's the top seed.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those games to keep an eye on. When you get a little bit lower in the divisions, Randy, I think more of the games become toss-ups regardless of the seed. You get one kid that has a great day or something like that, and that could turn things.
A few years ago, El Camino Real beat Hamilton for the D2 title. Now they open up with them. ECR is the favorite.
Yeah, I think ECR. See, this is where I don't know. 2-8, 3-7. So which way do you go? But give me ECR. Let me tell you why. Because they've played a tougher league, right? The West Valley League's no joke, and so when they're ready for those types of games, that makes them ready for the postseason.
We have Wilson and Fairfax, should be a good ball game. So should San Fernando and Chatsworth. I'm not sure why Chatsworth isn't ranked ahead of El Camino in the seedings. They're one slot behind the Royals, and the Royals lost at Chatsworth just last week. I think Chatsworth should be rated ahead of them, but it doesn't matter. They're both 2 and 3 seeds and figure to have a great chance. Last at Vance Spafford, great receiver out of Mission Viejo, is going to Georgia.
Yeah, I've seen him play multiple times. He is lightning fast, a great route runner, and almost impossible to tackle. He had more than 20 touchdown receptions last year. I think he's around that number now. He'll probably finish his career with 100 touchdown receptions, and it wouldn't be far-fetched.
Thank you to Bell High School. They were great here today. Thanks to the coach and the star running back. Coach was sensational. Stubbs is very good, too, the running back. So we're going to say goodnight. You're leaving, right?
Yeah, go ahead and take this.
All right. He usually throws his
laps
papers.
in.
He's getting his laps in. We'll see you next week right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody. Abundant sunshine. I love it.
You're watching LA 36, television dedicated to lifelong learning.